Welcome back to Gaelic Games Fan TV. It is week 4 of the Allianz National Football League, and we are here to preview and predict this weekend's Allianz National Football League action. Joined by Patrick Sharkey from GA Zone Media for this one for week 4 of the Allianz National Football League. I am on a mobile device as well, so maybe the audio hopefully isn't too bad. Unfortunately, my laptop is just installing updates and all that crack and, everything else that it does for some reason. But nonetheless, we are here to preview the weekend's games. Patrick, how's things? How's life? I bet you're absolutely buzzing as a Donegal man at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, other aspects of life's a different story, but being a Donegal fan, from that perspective, it's definitely, you couldn't have asked for a better start. You really couldn't have. You know what I mean? Like, it's you've tucked down Dublin and Kerry, two of the premier teams in Ireland. They'll always be in the top 5 regardless of how bad they are. So I think they take both of them down, and obviously the All-Ireland champions Armagh, who we regularly beat anyways, but still another one and stuff like that. Murphy's back now, so feel good factors back, but that's good there. Look, I've been to all 3 games. I've been in Ballybuffet both times, and I went to Killarney, and I've only counted 2 real goal opportunities in the 3 games. So the 2 pointers are great and stuff in the league when people get used to it and stuff but the only concern I have is maybe, are we peaking too early, and maybe lack of, they're not really going for goal Donegal, but maybe Jim's holding song back, or I don't know. It's hard to fathom, but yeah.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah, no, it's been an incredible start, and obviously with Michael Murphy back in the fold as well, times are good. So, look, we'll crack into the games, but before we do, we're running an L forfeit challenge that you have to pick for myself. Now, a reminder to the audience. So, Matthew Hurley from a Gaelic Statsman, his forfeit was me to wear. I think it was to wear a Cork jersey during championship weekend. He was on 10 points. I actually went back and calculated Seamus's points as well. His forfeit was for me to wear a Man United jersey, I think in a stream or something of that nature, which also isn't a good one. He was actually also on 10 points, and then we had the viewers as well who finished on 9 points. So they won't be winning the challenge this time around. But what's your forfeit if you do get the best predictions? I suppose from the challenge.
Which team do you hate the most? I'm going to ask you guys, which team do you hate the most? Which team do you're not going to have to spend any money. It's actually a wee bit softer than the other Jones. But which team do you hate the most?
It's a hard one, really. It probably is Mayo, if I'm being honest. It probably is Mayo. Mayo or Kerry, but what Kerry have a bit more respect for. Mayo, probably Mayo. If I have to be brutally honest, but look, it's no disrespect for any Mayo fans watching. I'm sure you feel the same about it.
Yeah, okay. That's that's like a Mayo. So if I won the challenge, it'll only be for 24 hours. I want to make that very clear. But you will have to change the profile photo of the Gaelic Fan TV profiles to the Mayo GA badge. It has to be changed to the Mayo GA badge if that happens. So, yeah.
There we go. I mean, yeah, it's probably not as bad as the other ones. Hopefully Mayo GA don't mind, because I know what the GA official are like with all logos and all that crack. But
I don't know. Maybe a Mayo jersey or something Mayo related. We'll
definitely do something. We'll definitely do something Mayo. But yeah, there we go. Yeah, probably not as bad. So I might nearly be rooting for you in these predictions now. To be honest with you, I don't think they're as bad as the other ones. To be honest with you, But yeah, look, we might as well start off with Mayo. They're going away to Armagh. Massive game in the context of things for both of these two sides. And actually, as well, we'll throw up the league table as well when we get a chance. There we go. So you see there, Mayo with 2 points, Armagh with 2 points. So it's 6th versus 7th. You'd feel like whoever loses this game could potentially get relegated.
Yeah, there's a big argument for that there, and GA league tables who makes that graphic. I saw a point that after round 3, there's a 66% chance if you're in the relegation zone that you will end up getting relegated after round 3. So I'm gonna have to put statistics to the test now. Like, so I'm gonna have to back Armagh to win it. I think with being home, like, I think, obviously we've seen with the Corrigan Park situation, that because of their amount of season tickets, it was obviously a challenge to get it there and stuff like. So, they have a very vocal support. Same could be said for Mayo and stuff like, but maybe Armagh's brought a bit of sunshine after winning the All Ireland last year, but I think they're very much
Mm.
the stronger team. I think out of Mayo. Like, I think Mayo just haven't really got to grips with the new rules yet. Yes, they got was it like 11 points against Tyrone or something like, but they were
Oh yeah.
quite slow and stuff against Tyrone and stuff like, and I think even with Aidan Forker suspended, like, this is an Armagh team at the peak of their powers. Like, well, the Mayo team I think is still 2 or 3 years away, or maybe just a little bit. They, I just feel.
Oh, do we still have him, or have we lost him, or is it me? I don't think it's me this time, is it? We may have lost him, folks. Or are we back? I think we're
Did you hear
back.
me?
Are we? Yeah. I don't know who
Yeah.
went there. I don't know if it was me
Did
or
you hear
you,
me?
but yeah, I can hear you all good. Yeah.
Oh yeah, you heard me all good. Okay. You know that my is going. Yeah. So I would have to fully, with every bone in my body, I would have to just on the basis that they're the current All Ireland champions, stuff like, and I think, are they too good to go down, stuff like, but the better
Mm.
score that they've been able to kind of look at the way they dismantled Tyrone while Mayo struggled against Tyrone. That's kind of the basis I have to go off. So both games were at home. I would have to slide. I would definitely be sliding in Armagh's favour in this instance. But yeah, so good few players come back from Mayo this week. But I still think that's might take a week or two for them to sell them, Patrick. But maybe at the back end of the league they may come good. But no, I can't see them. Yeah.
Yeah, Patrick says here, I'd say Mayo will get it. Good few players back from Mayo this week if they can improve. Shooting a small bit, they should get the win. And Kieran says here, I wouldn't say it's an Armagh team at their peak. We're still missing 7 or 8 players who were involved in the All Ireland campaign. I hope you're right with the Armagh prediction though. I think the home advantage here will be key for Armagh. Like when they played at home 2 weeks ago against Tyrone, they looked a completely different team. To when they obviously played away from home in the other 2 games. Although Mayo did turn things around, like it was interesting. I did even have a few Mayo fans on to me after the game, and even though they were happy with the win, there definitely was still some mixed opinion on the fact that they still only finished with 12 points. Obviously, having Aidan O'Shea back in the fold is obviously a big one there. So you're back in Armagh in terms of margin of victory. What are you thinking?
Yeah, I would. Obviously there is still 7 or 8 players missing. Yeah, but like Armagh were at the races for a lot of the game. Galway, they're coming in strong before Murphy came in and Donegal. Like, I think overall their performances have been better, and they have they got that one. The way they dismantled Tyrone, they played better against Mayo. So I have to base off what I've seen this season. It's not, I understand there's still 7 or 8 players to go. There's O'Neill, Turbot. There's a few other lads as well, and whatnot. Like, but they still have a very, very strong. They still, I think, have a strong enough team that can overcome a slightly weakened Mayo team as well. Like, so yeah.
How many points are you thinking?
See, the one thing Armagh's got this season is they were able to get a goal against Donegal, like, and not too many teams have been scoring goals this year because of the new 2-pointer. So I think I think Mayo could definitely outscore them in points. I think Armagh 110, Mayo 12. I think Armagh would beat them within the context of a goal. I think I think that would be that kind of margin I'm expecting.
There we go. There we go. Yeah, low scoring enough, but yeah, no, I'll go with Armagh as well. I'll go with Armagh a little bit more comfortably. I'll probably say Armagh by 5. In my opinion. I think as well, like all the fuss around Aidan Forker and all the chat kind of around there as well. I think Armagh might have, a bit of the bit between their teeth a little bit in this game. We've got Tyrone versus Kerry, two sides that are not, two sides that are very familiar with each other, obviously down the years as well. Looking at the league table, it is two teams as well on 2 points. So it's a massive game in regards to that as well. Are Kerry in a bit of trouble? Could Kerry go down?
Well, they can, but I just don't think they would. I don't. They brought on Clifford too late and stuff like, and they've got that gears there, and Micheál Burns is finding his form again, like, and they've a few new faces in the squad. Killian Trant has looked a proper good footballer as well. So I think he's been a football. He's definitely been a footballer once saying there. Like, so I think, can they go? I think they're like Derry and Mayo are obviously more unlikely, but I think they're the third most likely to go down. But I think Derry and Mayo at the minute are so much more likely than Kerry. Like the Dublin one caught them by surprise. Like, and it's not easy. They've lost their 2 home games, but like, I'd like Kerry. I think they can do it. Like I don't think Kerry have ever got relegated in my lifetime. I'm born in 2002. Correct me if I'm wrong. Like, but they definitely
I think it's definitely over 20 years or something of that nature. Anyway,
like,
yeah.
Like, like Sean O'Shea got 7 points overnight. If you give the service of David Clifford and the Sean O'Shea, he'll get more than 10 points and stuff like, and all the rest. Like, and Clifford, I'm sure, will get 5 or 6 of his own. And Brian O'Beaglock has been great outside the 2-point arc as well. Like, so I would definitely think he's up there for them. So no, I think, and they were at the races most of the game against Kerry. As we've seen with Derry, like, they were struggling in the first 2 games to close out games, and they were able to close out that game against Galway and get a draw, who we'll touch on later. So I think, a slightly better game management is going to massively boost Kerry. And I think I just can't, So I just can't see Kerry kind of going down. Like, and I think this weekend they will get a win. I think before you go, I think it's going to be an intense enough game. But it always is with Kerry, and it won't be a pretty game, but it will be a very strong game for Kerry. Like, so I think I do think Kerry can almost get against Tyrone, like, and they don't have that bad of a record in Oma. It's not.
Yeah, no, I agree as well. Especially looking at Tyrone in the last 2 games. Like, I think with Kerry as well. Like, I don't think they've been that poor. Like, I mean, they, when you kind of look at it, obviously, like, they had a late enough win against Derry. Disappointing at times against Donegal. Obviously lost. Had a very kind of bad setback in the second half versus the Dubs. But I do think they've had good enough moments in there from a Kerry perspective, and I think if they can right the wrongs, I do think they'll have enough. For a Tyrone perspective, it would be worrying for them to lose 3 on the bounce. But I think I probably would agree with you there. I would go with Kerry to win the game as well. In terms of like how many points do you think it will be for the Kingdom?
Yeah, I was at the Kerry game, the Donegal game, and I think Kerry had about like 7 or 8 really good chances on goal. Like, Kerry are not abandoning the goal principle. Like, so I think it will bear fruit for them eventually. Like, so the score for Tyrone Kerry, Tyrone 10, maybe Kerry 115-ish. That's kind of, I put on a rough kind of Word document that I've kind of put up there of what I think is going to happen there. Like, but I think I do think Kerry are just gonna have that extra edge, and getting that. I think the ability to score goals, which I think the Tyrone are quite similar to Donegal. I just think they're not really getting near the goal mouth that much. Like, and I think 8 points to Kerry. I know that's a bit of a big
Yeah.
one to say, but yeah.
Mhm. There we go. Yeah, no, look, it is a big prediction, I suppose. Like we have seen, with the new rules obviously coming in, that these these new the games do tend to be a lot bigger in terms of margin of victory and everything else. A2 says here, forfeit suggestion: do a watch along in a Kerry jersey. Yeah, could be a suggestion there maybe for the next guest. But yeah, I'm going to go with Kerry as well to win the game. I'm going to go by 4, so I'm going to go half of what you were going for there. Galway versus Donegal. Your man travelling down to kind of downish, you would say, to Galway. Big game. I suppose a lot of people kind of saying that these probably are the two best teams. So far in the league. Obviously, Donegal have 3 wins on the bounce. Galway have 2 wins and a draw. Both of these two, like, using the new rules, you would say, to absolute perfection, really. So, has the makings of a good game, this one.
Yeah, definitely. This will be a great game. Like, we're traveling down the country whenever we leave Donegal. Like, but I do think, making of a great game. I think it might be the least intense game though, and I mean that because roughly about 5 points keeps you up. Most seasons, like 5 points keeping you up. Like Galway's on 5, we're on 6. It's not like any of us are fighting for it there. Like, does the league maybe matter to Galway more because they're in a Connacht semi-final? And it's a bit because we're in a preliminary round this year, which means if we got to a league final, that's a weekend before. So obviously it is challenging for Donegal, but I can only go off what I've seen. And I would have to back the team. Like, and I don't they're like, because this is a team that was getting beat by Mayo at halftime, Galway and stuff. Like, there is vulnerability in Galway there. Like, so if I had to go with there, I would 5.1. I think we could squeeze, like, and we're gonna see bigger scores because that's the factor in the 2-pointers there. Like, and Michael Murphy is gonna have a field day if he starts. Like, he'll get 3 or 4 if he if he was given enough time in the ball. I think that would be one thing there. Like, so yeah, it's definitely there. Like, and seems like Patton's cleaned up on his kickouts too. Like, we got a lot more ball in the middle against Armagh than we did against Kerry. Like, so it was a better midfield performance as well. We still have Jason McGee to come back. He won't be back this time round, but it's a pretty. I've been pretty impressed with what we've seen. I think Galway's just looked that slight bit more vulnerable, and I know they haven't lost a game, but I don't think we would have let that lead against Derry slip. And that's the one thing. I think that's the thing with Galway is they were able to let slip. Like, so it's just I have to go out there. Like, so I will have to back us by. I'll give us a 5.1. Yeah, and I know it's not, like, because Shane Walsh is in the form of his life. He's not slowing. He's definitely not slowing down, and I think that is going to be key to what's going on. And Paul Conroy, in his mid-30s, is still one of the he is the best footballer in Ireland because he's won the Footballer of the Year. Like, but he is still in top shape and he's still an absolute commanding voice for them. But I think you have a full when you have a full forward line of Paddy McBurdy, Michael Murphy, and Oisín Gallen. I think it is really going to be havoc for Galway. It's really going to cause. They're going to cause havoc against them. Like, so yeah, I think just at this minute in time, I have to base off. We've only got 3 games to base it off. We have, so yeah, I'd have to back them that way.
Well, what do you make? Because when I was doing the review stream there on Monday, a few people kind of making the point of Donegal, in some similarities to Derry last year, who obviously looked really strong in the league, and then sort of petered out and had a really poor championship. And then obviously the same happened with Mayo the season previous. And obviously it's interesting. Like, if Donegal do get to a league final, you will actually. I think it's a week after the league final you actually play Derry. So. Like, is there any? Do you think there will be a drop off from Donegal at some point? Maybe after this weekend, or could it even happen this weekend?
That's the thing with the kind of what Donald O'Sullivan has called a microwave season, that we're not gonna have uh, as much. The league is it has devalued the league going to the championship stuff. Like I think it. I mean, will he experiment a bit more? Yes, he will experiment a bit more. But the idea that he will throw a game, obviously we play Derry and Ballyshannon. I don't think either team wants to show their card. Albeit if Derry have to beat Donegal to help their survival boost, then they'll throw the kitchen sink at the game, and I've no doubt about that there. But all the rest, but still, Jim McGuinness likes the idea of a good home record and stuff, and I don't think he would want to let it slip, so I don't want to say he'd play for a draw, but Galway might get the one. Yeah, there's a strong argument for Galway winning as well, but I'd like to see him bring Gavin Mulrenny into the team. I think he's been an exceptionally good goalkeeper when he's been called upon. He's been reliable and stuff. I know the whole kick-out strategy is built around Sean Patton and stuff, and that's the way it is, but for a lad who puts in a lot of effort, and he was playing League of Ireland soccer beforehand with Finn Harps, so for making that sacrifice, I put him on the pitch just there, and maybe some of the final league games just to get him there, and I think just get every option going there, and there's I'd give someone like Charles McGuinness a chance, because a lot of players there who've never played for Donegal are on the bench, and we have to maybe treat it like the McKenna Cup now, in a way, because it's unfair. It's not fair that that there was never really a team there, and the under 20 Ulster Championship starts on March 19th. So give some of the under 20s a game or two just to make the march sharpness and stuff, and treating like challenge games. One thing, I know I would love it if Division 1 was that the team at the top of the table just got the trophy, and it wasn't but I understand there were 3 divisions. It's more prestigious, because they're not going to get the Croke Park as often. But I think I just So for that reason, I am back in. But that's what I do think. But I think always an important game, just to reassure the team in Norris. But I think the final 3 games might be a bit different.
Yeah, I'm actually going to go for Galway here. I think the home advantage for Galway and everything else. I think how good they've looked in the league as well. I also think it's a game that Donegal can lose. I think it's a game they can take their foot off the gas a little bit. In my opinion, they're not going to get relegated at this stage. They've got decent fixtures after this as well, where I think they'll do enough to get to a league final. So yeah, you're going to go Donegal by 5. I'm going to go Galway by 2. We've got Dublin versus Derry happening in Croke Park. I suppose we were looking at the league table a little bit there. Derry currently sitting bottom with just a single point. The record, recently as well, since they won the league last year, has been very, very poor. And they've won just 2 games in total. 1 game in normal time. That came versus Westmeath. And Dublin are going to be full of confidence really after that kind of comeback versus Kerry. So it's hard to really see if Derry can get anything here. Albeit, look, they did obviously give Dublin a very good game in Croke Park last year.
Yeah, you're dead right, and I think someone says, why is the match against Derry not in Ballybofey? It was meant to be in Ballybofey, but similar to the Armagh Antrim situation, because of Armagh's over 3,000 season ticket holders, Ballyshannon couldn't facilitate it, so that's why they swapped it around. Just to clarify that there. But more importantly, Dublin Derry this Saturday night. It's the bright lights. It's the big thing, and Derry been there and stuff and it's just, I feel bad for Paddy Taddy has just joined too late. He joined in November. Most managers, a lot of managers nowadays get appointed July, August, and then they've all that plans in place and stuff so. He's entered some kind of a poison chalice. And that's not, and that's a very tough job to do. I think if Jim McGuinness or Jim Gavin or Jack O'Connor was put in the same position, they would also struggle. And it's not, it doesn't devalue him as a coach. But I would have to back Dublin, especially with being a Croker game and stuff. And Dublin have found their feet again. Yes, they struggled against Donegal, but they massively took it out the bag against Kerry, against Mayo. They beat there like so 2 out of 3. Like that's 6 points out of a potential 9. Derry have 1 point out of a potential 9. Like this is the metrics we're talking about. So I would have like I've just seen Evans there, and I think this is a Dublin team with 14 of their team that played in the championship last year, and stuff like that. It wasn't available. It wasn't. Yeah, it's just so I have to back them. Like 14 players in last year's championship. I just lost my mind there for a minute. Who played for Dublin did not play in the league so far this year. Like so, there's still some of them won't come back. Like others, but like Breitnock, that Breitnock lad looks really good. Like and they've really he is flying for Dublin as well. Like, but Kieran Kilkenny, is probably the most senior player in the team now. I was, having a discussion with a man on the stands against the Donegal game. Other than Kieran Kilkenny, how much do you actually recognise in this team? Like, and I reckon there's a few, but not that much. Like, but Tom Lahath has massively stepped up, and he was in the first half and the second half, and Lee Gannon as well has been quite good. Lorcan O'Dowd has been there, and I definitely think it's been there, so yeah, and they're so yeah. There's so much. There's a lot of quality in them there, and that back line, David Byrne, Theo Clancy, and Sean McMahon, they've been watertight. Like they've been really taking advantage of the free on free. Like they've been winning a lot of their battles and stuff. And they haven't been, we're seeing an uglier Dublin, but a Dublin that can still win games. And I think Derry got that draw against Galway, which is brilliant for them. I'm delighted for them, but a lot of their good performances, Patrick McGrogan's come on well, Dermot Baker has really looked good in defence. Like he's really become a rock for the team and all the rest. But I think like Donegal, like Tyrone, I just don't know where exactly I feel Dublin's more likely to go for a goal. Now they didn't score against Donegal, or they didn't score against Kerry, but I still think they're more likely to score a goal, and that's part of the metric for it there. So yeah, there's a big performance left in Derry. It might come this weekend be the Dubs. I don't know. I think with derbies against. I think with derbies against with a derby game against Donegal, I think that might be a bigger game for them, and I don't not put it up there. Obviously Croke Park's always a big deal, but yeah, I'm back in the Dubs.
Yeah. I'm gonna do so as well. To be fair, Nirb was saying here a bit weird. Dubs Derry is on BBC, and TG Carr would usually want that match all the time. But I suppose at the same time, look, I mean, at least there are going to be other matches on TG Carr, so at least it is on somewhere else. To be fair, and it's not completely not shown.
Well, part of the TG Carr deal I know was they had to show so many LGFA games, and I know that after the Mayo Armagh ladies game is going to be shown after the Mayo Armagh men's game. But I know, I believe for those in the 26 counties there is the GA Go. I believe it can be watched throughout there as well. So it's not and they're and it does and they're I know when it's Ulster counties, BBC will have that be more likely to show it and stuff. But yeah, so that's a factor there. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm going to back Dublin anyway as well. I'm going to go Dublin by 4. Derry have done well at the end of matches. They have clawed games back. Like even in the Kerry match, they clawed the game back, and I have a funny feeling they might do something similar here. But I still think Dublin, especially confidence-wise, they do get Mikey's point as well. There is there probably is a big performance coming from Derry. I think they have gradually got better as the weeks have gone on, and they probably are due a win. I just don't think it's gonna happen this weekend.
3 points, I say.
3 points. There we go. So that's Division 1 in the books. We'll move on to Division 2, and before we do that, let's have a look here at the table. So Roscommon with 6 points on top. You've got Monaghan, Meath, and Cork all there with 4 points. You've got Loudown and Cavan all with 2 points. There are two teams, two counties who are playing each other this weekend. They're on 4 points. That's Monaghan and Cork. Massive game this in terms of the promotion shout. What are we thinking here? I mean, Cork have looked good. They've definitely had some kind of good moments. They've had a few, and they obviously had that disappointing defeat that came to down. But overall, Monaghan as well at the same time, probably fell apart a little bit against the Rossies towards the end, but have silenced some of the critics as well. So what are we thinking here?
Yeah, Cork have been good and stuff like, and so have Monaghan. But I think Cork have been that side of poor and stuff like. But I think I slightly think Cork are going to do it this weekend and stuff like, and I do, and I don't kind of say I don't say that lightly though, like, but usually Cork, I think are going to try to get the business done early this time, like, because as I said, there was no preseason competition, so Cork have had no opportunity to really experiment, like, and if they want to maybe get back to an All Ireland quarter final, like, because all the rest, like, so they're on 4 points. So what's the magic number I've located is probably about 5 points to avoid being dropped down. So I think they'll go on and they'll put in the performance of the season against Monaghan, their performance of the season. So I would have to back them to really, pull it out the bag. I think it's really not going to be straightforward. It's not going to be a straightforward game and stuff like. But look at their backline. You've Maurice Shanley, you've Daniel O'Mahony, Neil Lord and stuff like. I know Monaghan are an attacking team. They're well used to it and stuff like. And Chris O'Jones got 3-4 against Westmeath and stuff like. I know Monaghan are an upstanding opposition stuff like, but if he's given any bit of room, he's scored and stuff like, and the whole, and that's without any 2-pointers, like. So this is the kind of caliber team that they can be and stuff like. So I've no doubt they're gonna throw the kitchen sink at Monaghan, like. So I think there's been some strong teams there and stuff. So yeah, I would have to give it my full. Right, yeah, I'm back in Cork to out there, but as you said, Monaghan, they fell apart against Roscommon, like, so they're not really getting it with pressure and stuff like. I think an overseason in Division 2 might actually help them in the long run. I know that's a difficult one. I know that's difficult, So yeah, but Roscommon have been on fire this season, so there's not really too much shame there, like, but there's definitely a strong team there, stuff like. But Rory Bagan, at least they've Rory Bagan in the league this year. They didn't have him last year. I think was a massive miss for them, because he was, trying his best to break into the American football scene, which kind of stuff like. But Kieran McNulty's looked good. Stephen Mooney looked good as well, and Conor McCarthy and Colin Lennon as well. They have a lot of players, stuff like. But they're only bringing Jack McCarron off the bench and stuff like, who probably should be starting, like. So I have to get off the, they're planning to take him off the bench. He may start championship, but yeah, it's going to be a rough run there, like. But I think it's weird, like, a lot of, if you look at their age group, one half are probably over 30, the other half are under 25. So I just believe this is peak Cork. Well, this is a kind of a Monaghan team in transition, and I ultimately think overall Monaghan have a better squad, but I think Cork, on this occasion, will come out victorious. Yeah.
Funny enough, I do actually agree with you as well. I do have a funny feeling, although, yeah, going away to Monaghan's obviously always a massively tough game, and going up to Inniskeen, I think, where it's going to be played, is always a tough place to go as well. But no, I fancy Cork to get the job done. I do. I think these are the type of games down the years, like Cork. Sometimes when you play a Loud or something like that, that's where, Cork can struggle sometimes. But when they play, away to a Monaghan, or even when they beat yourselves, Donegal last year, they do tend to raise their game. So, no, I actually fancy Cork to pull off a bit of a surprise win as well here. I'm going to go by a point. What are you thinking points-wise?
point wise, I mean, Cork were able to get 3 goals against Westmeath. I know Monaghan got 2 goals in the last game, but the fact, Cork, you need teams that aren't going to be afraid to score goals and stuff so. Maybe about 7 points. Yeah,
7 points.
I
There
think
we go. Yeah,
I think that Cork have been one of the best counties so far for the 2 pointers. They've been well in tune with the 2 points stuff. So I think they've got a grip on the rules. But I think if they came again at an All Ireland round robin stage, I would fully back Monaghan, even in Páirc Uí Chaoimh to do it. But I think this stage of year, I think Cork are the stronger team.
Yeah, we've got Meath versus Roscommon as well. Both teams in flying form, actually, it must be said. The Rossies have obviously won 3 games from 3. They've been arguably one of the best teams so far with the new rules. And Meath themselves look like they may have, turned the corner a little bit in recent weeks. They've won back-to-back games. Massive win, obviously, versus Down. Some of the younger players they've introduced in the last kind of year or so has been very impressive. So, it's an interesting one. This if Meath can win this, then all of a sudden I'd be very excited to kind of even as a Dublin fan, I'd be thinking how far could this Meath kind of project go? If they can, get a win versus away to Down and then versus Roscommon in the space of a week. But who are you backing here?
I am gonna back neither of them. I'm gonna go for a draw. And before anyone calls me a fence sitter, I can confirm out of my rough draft, out of the 16 games happening, the over 15 games, I have a winner selected. But as for this game, I'm going for a draw. When I spoke to you in December, I said Meath and Louth were going up. As for what I thought about Roscommon, probably better not repeat it. I think I thought after a really poor year, I thought they were going to struggle and head down because all the other teams in Division 2 were getting stronger. But no, but Meath, Robbie Brennan, a serial winner of Kilmacud. He's really brought back the winning mentality back, and he's managed in the Meath club scene as well. So obviously, it brought back Jordan Morris. He's one of the best footballers in Ireland now. I think they've really got their stuff together. And they've had a few bits of underage success. And I think we're starting to see the first kind of reap or rewards that there. That's a team that they've lost. No, their talisman. Killian O'Sullivan. Obviously an inspiring story, but he's not been involved in this year and stuff whatnot. But he's definitely. I definitely feel like other players have stepped up, in his void. So I've no, doubt about that. There, Meath are really well and truly on the road up again. I don't know if they're gonna challenge Dublin and Leinster, but I would have to say fair credit to them. But because of Roscommon, though, how good Roscommon have been as well. You can't really predict a Roscommon loss. You just can't. You can't really they've looked. The Division 2 has been a playground for Roscommon. So that's kind of something that I think will really stand to them and stuff So there's a lot of German Murta got 12 points. The other game there. I know 2 of them came with 3-pointers. But he has just been. He's been on fire. And Kieran Murta too. The standard of the team there. When Connor Cox is back to scoring points for fun again now. So they have massively turned the corner on that there and stuff so it's gonna absolutely and there'll be a serious force in contact. I say once they get the momentum of playing at that level there. They could definitely if I was Galway or Mayo, I'd be quite nervous watching their progress. But at the end of the day, it is only Division 2, but still I think they have really turned it around. You look at the team they're building, and you'd have to stay there. But with it being in Navan, and Meath being in really good form, you can't really imagine either team losing. And it's a compliment to both team that I'm predicting the draw. And I know that's a bit, so I have to sit on the fence in this one. This once, but don't you worry, I have a winner for every other game.
Yeah. To be fair, in fairness, there's always a draw somewhere. There's probably a draw. There may be a little bit less now, maybe with the new rules, because games are higher score and everything else. So a draw isn't a bad show, but I am going to go with Roscommon here. I know Meath have looked very good. They did lose the opening day against Cork, though. Let's not forget that. Although they created a lot of chances that day, and it was a big win versus Down. But their recent record versus Down hasn't been bad as well. Even when you look at the Tailteann Cup final and everything else. So I'm going to go with Roscommon, and I'm going to go Roscommon by 3. Louth versus Down. You were saying there you backed Louth to be promoted before the start of the year. Probably not going to happen. More so, probably going to be looking over their shoulders now. Down as well, coming in on the back of that sort of somewhat of a surprise defeat to Meath. It hasn't quite clicked for Louth, I think, under the new rules, and might be tough for them to get anything here. You'd probably have to edge it towards Down, I'd imagine.
Yeah, I am. I am edging it towards Down in the Northeast battle. I think Louth have been unable to really get the grasp with scoring goals, which I think, some teams seem to have just switched off completely since the new rules. They seem to be going all out for the 2-pointers, but, they were 3-15 to 18 points they lost to Cavan. It was because Cavan were more clinical on the goal scoring side of things that they fell to Cavan. You know what I mean? And it's not necessarily that they don't get points, stuff so. But Down were still able to get a goal against a very, very strong Meath team. This is a Meath. So I would have to be, at home stuff but. I'm backing Down, and I just think Down just have more momentum and stuff and whatever else comes after. So but just because they played good against Donegal last year, and they'd been knocking on the door of promotion 2 years beforehand. So I think it was logical for me to predict Louth to go up with Meath, but now they've gone. They probably need to keep their Division 2 status, and hopefully that everything else could fall into place next year and stuff but Down, that Havern's been great, Ryan McIntyre's been great, and Michael Rooney been really good, Aaron Murdoch, who showed his brilliance for Ulster in those sandbox games, and probably a case to bring back the Tailteann Cup for maybe players from lesser counties to represent their provinces. But I think it's been a great kind of stuff but with the new rules, it means that more points come. And they went 13 minutes at one stage of the Meath game outscoring stuff so. I think they'll right or wrong this time, and I think I would have to back. So for that reason, I'm backing Down to go for Down to crack Louth.
By how many do you think?
How many? That's a good question there. I would Louth 18, Down 118. So I think there'll be a goal on it. So 3 points.
Yeah. It's an interesting one. Louth haven't been scoring as much. They've been one of the lowest scorers so far across all 4 divisions. I do think they'll be fine. I don't think there will be in any relegation trouble, but I do think Down will be too strong here. In my opinion, I'm going to go Down by 4. You've got Westmeath versus Cavan. I think it's probably fair to say whoever loses this is probably Down. Pardon the pun there, but yeah, you would look at it and think whoever loses this probably is getting relegated. I know Cavan got a big win the last time out versus Louth, coincidentally. But Westmeath, on the other hand side, have actually had some good performances. They weren't a million miles off beating Cork. There was actually only a point in it in the end. What do you think? I feel I kind of fancy Westmeath to win this, to be honest.
Same. It's an interesting game because one of the big talking points when Jerry McCabe was appointed as manager of Westmeath was that his current employment was being a games development manager at Cavan, which obviously is a conflict of interest because they play in the same division. while they do border each other and stuff like. But I think Jerry McCabe he's a lot of knowledge of Cavan club football. I think they were able to get 3-17 against Cork. Like most days out, even on the new rules, if you're able to score 3-17, you're more than likely gonna beat the team in front of you. And with it being a Mullingar game, yeah, I'm back in Westmeath to really really take it on to Cavan and stuff like. There's been a lot of players kind of in and out of the Cavan panel and stuff like. Some Cavan fans say maybe Mickey Graham in Division 3 and 4 was bringing a lot of the experienced lads, bring them back up without maybe giving too much young lads opportunities. But now some older players have stepped away and they have a younger squad, so it's obviously a difficult position for both Cavan and Westmeath. But I would back Westmeath there. Like I think but I think probably it's looking like probably both of them would go down if Westmeath won though. And that's probably increase the likelihood there. In Cavan, you'd nearly consider safe if they were able to pull out some kind of a result against Westmeath. But like Westmeath have just been Westmeath. I think have a good performance and stuff like. I think it's 0 points is a bit harsh after 3 games. Like, well, I know they didn't win any game, so I guess it's fair. But they still have so much talent there. Like, and you've Cooney, a great midfielder. Lachlan has been transformed as a full forward now. He's been full forward, but you've McCartan as well. You could, it's definitely on the up and stuff in Beef, So yeah, I think this is going to be a big game for Westmeath, and it might give them a glimmer of hope in the later stages.
Yeah, what are you thinking in terms of a result? I'm going to go Westmeath. I'm going to go Westmeath by 2. I think Westmeath can pull it off. I know Keane says here Cavan played so well the last day and got a super win against Louth. I get that. I know it was a big win. They'll be buying with confidence, but I think Westmeath they're kind of due a win a little bit. They have a decent record as well against Cavan from what I remember as well. Gavin says here, Insane McCabe is still the Cavan minor manager and Westmeath manager. Really, yeah, he's managing the minors as well. That's didn't know that.
I think you'll have to make a choice there along the line. I think there will be a choice later down the line that has to be made, because there's no way you'd be able to balance, especially in when summer comes and the minor championship starts. I think there will be some kind of
absolutely. Yeah, looking at Division 3 then, so we've got Kildare and Offaly both with 6 points there. You've got Laois and Clare with 4 points. Fermanagh and Antrim are both with 2 points, both 5th and 6th there, and Sligo and Leitrim are down near the bottom there. Kildare versus Laois, first of all, does look like Kildare have somewhat turned the corner. Obviously, it's still kind of early to tell a little bit, but it does feel like some of their younger players have really stepped up. Some of those under 20 lads have obviously come into the team, which has been huge. Laois, though, back-to-back wins, big win the last day out versus Sligo. Kildare at home though in Newbridge. I mean, interesting enough, Laois are the last team to beat Kildare. That was in the Tailteann Cup last year. Could we get a repeat here, or are Kildare going to be too strong?
Yeah, it's very similar to the Meath Roscommon game. And they said, that I predicted one team was going to go up and another team was going to go back-to-back relegations. I thought, this is a team that got knocked out by Laois and got squeaked by like a point or two against Wicklow. Like, this was a very poor... Like, there was no hope for Kildare. I had no hope for Kildare. But Brian Flanagan's turned the corner. I couldn't predict. No, like, none of us have a crystal ball. It's all just one big guessing game. But I would have to back Kildare here. Like, and I mean, I still think Laois is going to go up and stuff. Like, but the way they've been dismantling teams. Yes, they had a big one against Leitrim 127, but people say it's only Leitrim, but you can only beat what's in front of you, and they did just that, and they did it with a bit of class, and I think I would have to back Laois to lose. I think both of them could get over 20 points. I'm not denying that for a second. Justin McNulty has massively revitalised Leash football, and he's got no. So I think Leash could definitely make it back to back promotions there. Like, but I think it looks very much to be a very Leinster centre top three. Obviously Offaly doing well as well. Like, so I know we'll touch on them in a minute or two, but I think I would give my full backing to Kildare, like, 'cause they've been incredible this season, like, and
Yeah.
Kevin Feely has been back in top form and many others. It's like they've never. You'd have to wonder, where were they all this time, But
Yeah.
yeah, so
You're back in Kildare.
yeah, I am back in Kildare to do it, and I think but they've been able to get goals this year, which which is a rarity now. Like, so, I'd back her by 7 points, Kildare by 7 points. I think that's not a bad sign, Leash. Like, I think they've been beating every other team by more than 7 points. So I think I would have to give my full back, and yeah, the
Yeah.
Lily Whites, yeah.
Yeah. Gavin says here, I could see Kildare lose one game. This could be it, maybe. Maybe it could. It's hard to know, at least. They've lost a lot of players. And I backed them for promotion as well at the start, but I didn't expect them to lose as many players as they could, or as they would have lost. But I'm saying that back-to-back wins have been very impressive. I just think Kildare, Newbridge, kind of revamped stadium, everything else. I do think they'll be too strong here, in my opinion. I'm going to go with a 5-point win there for Kildare. We'll move on to Antrim versus Leitrim. And Keane had a comment here. Leitrim to get their first win. It can only get better for Leitrim, and redemption begins this weekend in Corrigan Park up Leitrim. John also said here as well, must be still very embarrassing for Kildare to be in Division 3. It kind of is mad looking at how they're playing now, but even what Patrick was saying earlier, I think actually if Kildare were in Division 3 last year, they probably actually would have got relegated from there as well. But look,
yeah. Well, I don't think no team has a God-given right to be in any division, and most of the time they are where they belong, and that's. But I know Kildare has a lot of quality, but yeah.
Antrim Leitrim, as Keane was saying there, like, I mean, it feels like if this is probably the game, they would look like it's hard to know where the wins are coming from. It's hard to know where the points are coming from. And going to Corrigan Park is obviously it's difficult for any team. I mean, we saw Clare go there recently and lose. It's a very difficult place for teams to go to, in fairness, and it is quite an L journey to that stadium. Is there a chance for Stephen Poacher's men to get going here? I mean, it feels like it could be. Like, when you look at it, like Leitrim have lost every game by double digits, and I feel like if they can keep this under 5 or 6, that might be an improvement. But it's very hard to back past the El Saffrons here.
I'd have to do it there. Like, they had a few defensive laps in judgment, which cost their game against Offaly, by just reading match reports in the frame there. So that's definitely going to be something I would have to back Antrim. Like, this is a team that, in other years have been at the top end of Division 3, nearly battling promotion and stuff. Like, so I can't, like, I really, at the minute there's 3 teams throughout the whole of divisions on 0 points. Westmeath I predict to get a win. You have Leitrim. I can't see. I think they're probably going to be the only team in all 4 divisions who might finish with 0 points, and that's very harsh. I don't want to be harsh to our neighbours. Maybe Waterford in Division 4 might get a draw against London, but that's about. But other than Leitrim, I can't see like where are where's the points coming from and stuff, like, because it's just. And it's a very it's a very harsh thing. Like, and I think it's not similar to Paddy Tally. I feel bad for Leitrim. Obviously, Mickey Graham, he was a great manager to get in and stuff, like. But once Galway pick up the phone, it was it was cheerio. So then Leitrim had to recheck a manager and stuff, like. And Stephen Poacher's been a really impact, in different Roscommon backroom teams. But now I think he's stepping in Boys Giannis and stuff, like, and I think, it would have been better for him to start in Division 4, and I think Leitrim could really make a good run on the Halton Cup and stuff, like, but he just has had less time than other managers to really really put his point across, and but they still get their manager sorted quicker than Derry, but it's a very poor Leitrim, so yeah, like Dara O'Shea's been good enough at the kick out, you have David Feedy, Tom Pryor, Paul Honeyman, all worth it. There's stuff like, he's been up there and whatnot. Like, I know Paul Honeyman had a great performance, when
Mayo
they
the
beat
20s,
Mayo in like an under in like a minor game last year. So
Yeah.
I think, he's kind of the second coming of Ryan O'Rourke. But other than that, but overall it's a 15-man game. And I would have to back, Antrim, and I don't think it's weird. Antrim aren't going down; they're not really going up either. So, but it's in Belfast stuff but I think there was maybe a missed opportunity from Antrim's point, but I know there's capacity issues, which is the main thing, especially with their hurlers playing at home to Waterford this weekend, that there could have been a great double header, in Corrigan Park, but I would have to buy there. You still have great defenders like Paddy Burkstock, James, but there's just, they conceded they had 14 men. If they can keep 15 men, they should be fine.
Yeah. No, I would back Antrim there. I think they should be. They should be too strong. Having the home advantage and everything else in Corrigan Park. I'll go with Antrim. I think I'll go with Antrim by 5. What would you go with
8
there?
points for me.
8 points.
8 points, yeah.
Yeah. Fermanagh versus Offaly is an interesting one as well. Like Offaly, they've had 3 wins on the bounce, rejuvenated really under Mickey Hart coming in. They look like a completely different team from last year. To think actually this time last year they had 3, so they actually lost their opening 4 games in the league last year in Division 3. They were one of the only teams in National Football League history to lose their opening 4 games and stay up. It was quite extraordinary there. So they already have the same amount of points as they had for the entirety of last year, I believe, or even more points. Fermanagh though, away from home, always a tough place to go. Like if Offaly can win this, they'll put a bit of daylight between them maybe and the teams potentially below them, given Kildare and Laois are playing each other as well. So massive game this.
Yeah. And the opportunity you mentioned is why I think Woody called. But yeah, Offaly's on a roll. Mickey Hart, he's become this generation's Mick O'Dwyer, once won a few trophies at the top, go down. He's took back-to-back promotions with Louth, and he's stepped in the Division 3 county, and he's really given Offaly a spark again. And a lot of them are that under-20 team are finally coming of age and stuff, that kind of rejuvenation in other Leinster counties such as Meath, Kildare and Offaly. We're finally seeing the fruits of that. I don't think Dublin's still going to win Leinster, but there's 3 other Leinster counties that could really, that I think have a lot to be positive about this year. And I think Offaly, I would have to back them against Fermanagh, and that's not, I believe, Ultan Kelm's out of the setup now, so that's kind of a key player gone and stuff. It's not gonna be easy for Fermanagh. They got well beaten by Kildare. It's not as big of a shame when you see how much Kildare beat off some other counties, but but for the team just down, the team that also got relegated in Division 2, that they actually finished above last year, to be beaten that way and stuff that's not easy going stuff so. So what do you call? Yeah, I would have to back there you have Hayes, Burke, Flynn. There's so many great players on in that team again. He's really got a completely new tune out of the team. And this is a team, Jack Bryan's still there, but you don't even have key players like David Dempsey there. He's still those players to get involved in the team again. So there's definitely hope in that team and stuff, and who knows what they might do, and they'll be a serious force in the Tailteann Cup. I believe they're on the same side as Dublin in the draw. Correct me if I'm wrong, but
I think they are. Yeah.
yeah. So like, it's not going to be. It's not, the Leinster final is probably out of bounds, but I think they've still got so they've got they're absolutely rife with talent. Like, and this is a team
Mm.
that was able to put 4 goals past Antrim, and like we were giving Antrim plenty of credit in our last predictions. So
Mm.
you have to put logic there and stuff like so. And a management team, yeah, absolutely. Mickey Hart and Declan Kelly's still there. He's co-manager, but I understand that thing there. I say, yeah, it shows the management. It's the new manager bounce and stuff like sometimes we see other teams that maybe things get a bit sour with the management being there for too long. But yeah, they're definitely them and Meath, I think, are the best 2 examples of new management bounce as well. Kildare as well. Like most of the new managers that were appointed in the summer, but those appointed in the autumn, like Derry and Leitrim, were struggling. But the rest of the teams are definitely going, on the high horse with their new manager. So yeah, I'd have to back Offaly. And as for how much Offaly would win it by, jeez, that's going to be like jeez, I'm put on the 10 to 15 point category. Like, yeah,
10 to 15 points.
Really, like 12 points. I'll give it 12 points. I think it's going to be, yeah.
Yeah, that's no. Look, I actually think Offaly will do it as well. To be honest, I think Offaly have been in great form, but I think Fermanagh are still a relatively decent kind of mid-table-ish Division 3. So no, I go Offaly by 2, but you're going what, Offaly by 12?
Yeah.
There we go. Let us know your thoughts on that one in the comments down below. Last one from Division 3, we've got what have we got? Sligo versus Clare. I mean, Sligo have lost 3 on the bounce here, so they're in massive trouble. They lose this, I think they are going down. Clare probably going to be safe, and maybe arguably looking, more so up towards the promotion. But I am going to back Sligo though to turn around. I think they are a good team, Sligo, at home as well. It's a game that they need to win. I think they would recognise as well how much of a setback it would be for Sligo football go back down to Division 4 after the Trojans of work that they've done over the last couple of years. So I'm going to back Sligo by 3. What are you thinking?
Sligo by 3. I think, as you mentioned, they've lost their first 3 games of the bounce. Like, and I know, like, Clare are, a Sam Maguire. They're a Sam Maguire team. You have to play in the Tailteann Cup. I know a lot of the times they've avoided Cork and Kerry, or maybe they might be Cork all the time.
Same again this year as well. They'll most likely be in the Sam Maguire again, bizarrely, regardless of where they finish.
They're not necessarily that motivated to go up, but they did. They finished 3rd in division last year, stuff like, and you have to like Clare. I know Donegal dismantled them quite easily last year, but we get this Sligo we're talking about, there's so much talent, like Ross Doherty, Niall Murphy. Most county teams would have players like them around the squad if they could have. You would love it there. Like, Sligo need this similar population to Roscommon. Shouldn't be near Division 4. Like, yeah, but Sligo's a very Sligo are probably one of the best sporting counties in Ireland, though, obviously, because they have a League of Ireland soccer team. I even saw there's a village in Sligo of Grange where in the Tokyo Olympics they had 700 people, they had 4 Olympians. So like Sligo might have a bit more, but yes, Sligo could be up with Roscommon in the future, definitely. And I know the passion is definitely there in Sligo football, and the cool race Strandhill shows it there. But the thing, Sligo's one of those counties where they're dependent on a select number of top clubs. They don't have that much variety of clubs, and they've only a senior championship of 10 clubs, which to be fair is actually more than Kerry have. But I would have to back Clare, because Clare are capable of getting results. Like, they're not going to Division 4 and stuff so. Yeah, I would have to. I can't see past Clare not one like so 4 points for Clare. Clare have been able to get goals this year as well. Like so, teams that can score goals and stuff like Sligo would have won the bare minimum. Playing home is a fair advantage stuff like but do they? Is it going to sell out Markovich Park? Is it going to be some hostile environment? They'll get used to a pitch and stuff but I just don't know. It's gonna be a rough ride for Sligo, and I wish them best luck because they're gonna need every bit of luck. But because I'm backing Clare by 4 yourself. Yes, you're doing Sligo by 3.
Yeah. And just on the comment there as well about Keane, Sligo to win bare minimum plus playing at home was a huge advantage. And then Gavin there as well saying this. I agree. I think it's a massive game for Sligo. I think you can imagine if they go down to Division 4, it might be some players there who might even leave the panel. Do you know what I mean? Some of the younger players, because of that setback. So it's huge, and I definitely hope that they can stay up. Because I do. I like the story of what Sligo have done over the last kind of couple of years. Division 4 table looks like this. So Wexford on top there with 6 points. Tipperary 5 points there with in second. You've got Wicklow with 4 points. You've got Limerick and Carlow with 3 points. London are sixth, and then Longford and Waterford are at the bottom. We won't spend too much time on Division 4 here, just for the purpose of time. But Wexford Wicklow stands out as the kind of big game here. It's two teams kind of near the top. Wicklow have obviously had a few setbacks so far this year. Wexford 3 wins from 3. What are you thinking? Is it going to be 4 from 4?
No, I don't think because I think losing to London was the wake up call Wicklow needed and stuff because they've been their other 2 games they've massively turned it around against they I know Waterford at the bottom table they're not the Rolls Royce of footballers, but they were still able to pretty much be good enough. 6 out of potential 9 points. I don't think it's that bad and stuff and I think they'll go to Chadwick's Park. They'll have their best wing. Wicklow have well and truly. Wexford have really got back on top again, but I think Wicklow need it more. I think Wexford can kind of nearly afford to, put it out there. So I would put my full back in towards I think Wicklow are really capable of getting themselves back to the top, and so Wicklow, I'm just seeing here they got a good one last weekend against a very strong what do you call it side. So they beat last weekend. Longford, I know. But Longford are a very defensive team, and they were able to get 2 goals off them. Longford don't have much attacking power, but they're a very solid defensive team. So they still were able to get 2 goals. And so I do think that there is a lot of fight and a lot of bite in them. You've Mark Kenny up top, you've Nolan as well, and you've Maguire. So you have a lot of talent scattered over the Wicklow team. So I would have to think. Just think. It's the fight in them. I think is just that bit better than Wexford, and that's not a discredit against Wexford. So I would have to go Wicklow by 3 yourself.
Yeah, no, I'd go with Wexford as well, or I'd go with Wexford at home. I think with the form they've been in, they've been in very very good form. Obviously, so far, I do fancy them to make it 4 from 4. Keane says Wexford to claim their 4th win. Gavin says when was the last time?
That was ridiculous of me using soccer analysis. They've got 1 out of the 6. It's 6 points. Oh crap! It's such a soccer brain thing about the 3.1.
There we go.
I'd love G to introduce it, but yeah.
Yeah. I'll back Wexford as well. Just looking at some of the other games, you've got Tipperary versus London and Carlow versus Limerick. What are you thinking there? I mean, you'd imagine Tipperary at home to London should be too strong to get the victory there.
Yeah.
And obviously,
So,
Carlow versus Limerick could go probably either way, though. In fairness,
yeah, like there's a lot of things there, like, but I would have to back Tip in those two cases. It's going to be on behalf of the South. I've been predicting every single Munster team so far this video to pick a one. So in the case of Limerick and Tip, I'm not changing my tune with that there. So I think Limerick, they've got goals this year where the Carlow have have good performances, but I feel Limerick just have that extra edge. And Shane Curran's doing some great work with Carlow, but 10.1 for Limerick, and against London, I think Tip will do it by 4. I think London definitely. So I think that would have to be. I think that go there. Yeah, I think Limerick are capable of a few goals that could run away from Carlow, and that's just that. Like, it's not necessarily saying they're hugely ahead of it now, and Tip haven't gained that many goals, but they are good enough to beat London. So yeah.
Yeah. No, I'm going to back Tipperary. I'm going to back Tipperary by. I'm going to go 8 points. And in terms of Limerick Carlow, I'm going to go for a draw. I haven't gone for a draw yet, so we'll go with the first draw of the day. And then Longford versus Waterford. Waterford actually beat Longford in the Tailteann Cup last year. Both of these two are the bottom two as well, which is incredible to think, given where Longford were just a couple of years ago. But I'm going to go with a Waterford win here. I think they can pull it off. I'm going to go with a 3-point win for Waterford. What are you thinking?
Look, I know a lot of people in Waterford football, and I know different people, especially in West Waterford, where people are dead. People are football over hurling and stuff, and it's still there is, and I really feel for them, but I have to go off the evidence there. Like, I think Longford by 3. I think with it being at Glennon Brothers Park. I think the cake effect back in Carlow, right? A true Ross Coleman man, what he called. But I really would, look, if you looked at the top scoring chart, for the Sigerson Cup, Alan Dunwoody, who left behind a soccer career at Waterford FC, he was second in the top scoring lists for the MTU Cork for the Sigerson Cup. Like, so the talent's there. There's some absolutely accessible talent. Liam Fennell, he's back from Sweden. You have many other talents. You've Conor Murray's back. They've been playing Conor Curran as a forward. Probably needs to play a bit lower down the pitch. Conor O'Curran. So he's been there. Like, but I would I just they missed out in the chance of playing in their fortress last week, because the pitch wasn't good enough against in Dungarvan, so they had to go to Waterford City, which is a home ground, but it's alien to a lot of people in Waterford football. So I would have to 3 points for Waterford, 3 points for Longford though. In the battle of the forwards, I would have to really back Longford. Like, they were still able to. Like Waterford only got 9 points against Tipperary. Like, if you're getting below 10 points in games, that's not really a good sign. That's not really that encouraging there. Like, and I know, like, they've Oren Kenny, and they've Duggan, they've O'Sullivan, they have many others, and they have Patrick Fox. So there's a lot of there's a lot of talent in that team, but I'm an established Division 3 team, and some of those players are established Division 3 players, like. So I think they can turn it around and get up the table a bit. Like, obviously it doesn't really mean too much because there's no Division 5, but, yeah.
Yeah, Gavin says here, Longford, an established Division 3 team, not really in a promotion battle now to get up. Really, really sad. Kind of is hard to see with Longford. John says if Longford can't beat Waterford, they can throw their hat at it. Yeah, I mean, look, they didn't beat Waterford last year, though. That's the thing, and I do think Waterford do have some young players coming through there. So, I don't think Waterford there is. I think people were saying a year ago Waterford were at Kilkenny levels, I don't think they're quite.
That's what harsh, like, yeah.
Yeah. I don't think they're quite there.
I think, yeah, it's a bit weird, like, because obviously, I'll say the way Waterford is, 80%, about 80% of their population lives in the eastern, more hurling obsessed side of Waterford, which also encompasses the city, which therefore makes Waterford a much bigger hurling county. But parts of Washburn stuff, the Gaeltacht, Dungarvan, Abbeyside, Balnacourty, you've Rathgormack aren't in the west, like, and you still have you've Clashmore, you've Ardmore, you've Oldpar, some real football hotbeds, in the west. But I just don't think, but ultimately it's places that aren't that populated, and it's very hard to convince. Like, and a lot of them are dual players, and it's a hard sell. Paul Shanley, I think, is probably one of the toughest jobs in Gaelic football. You do it there, like, but no, they definitely have a reason to be there, and they're capable of beating Tap last year. That's why I thought they'd go up, like, but they've been very slow to get started in Division 4, so it's been very, very tough for them to gain anything.
Yeah, well, look, that very much wraps up our predictions. Let us know in the comments down below your predictions for the weekend's games. Let us know as well any thoughts and opinions on the matches. And best of luck to Patrick in the L predictions. Will we see myself or will we see myself obviously have a Mayo crest or something of that nature? We'll have to wait and see. But yeah, cheers anyone who tuned in. Hit the like button and subscribe, and we'll catch you all in the next one.